Imagine a single, overlooked email attachment containing a miscalculated spreadsheet.
Just one.
Right, just one. And because of that single error, your company gets hit with a $100 million regulatory fine.
Yeah, your stock plummets overnight.
Exactly. And, suddenly your CEO is sitting under the glaring lights of a congressional hearing. I mean, that is the modern reality of corporate compliance.
It really is.
Today, the department that used to be known as the Department of No...
The fun police.
Yeah, the Fun Police. It has rapidly become, well, the only department keeping the entire ship afloat.
It's a profound evolution, honestly.
Right.
Historically, compliance was viewed as this back office box-ticking exercise,
Right. You just fill out the forms.
Exactly. You memorized the rules, you checked the forms, you filed them away. It was just a necessary cost center.
Mm-hmm.
But as the regulatory environment has grown exponentially more complex,
Oh, massively.
right, that passive approach is actually a massive liability now.
And, that is exactly our mission for you today. We are taking a deep dive into the official course details and syllabus for the ICA Advanced Certificate in Governance, Risk, and Compliance.
Or GRC for short.
GRC, right. Because for anyone looking to level up in the corporate world, understanding this shift is just, well, it's non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Compliance is no longer just about avoiding penalties, right? It's become this frontline tool for giving a company a tangible competitive edge.
The stakes simply couldn't be higher. I mean, we are operating in a landscape of absolute information overload.
Yeah.
Regulations across jurisdictions are changing at this dizzying pace.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we aren't just talking about a weekend seminar or like a quick online tutorial here.
No, not at all.
The credential we're looking at today is an internationally recognized Level 4 qualification.
Which translates to an intermediate level, just for context.
Right, intermediate level. And it's awarded in association with Alliance Manchester Business School at the University of Manchester. So we are dealing with serious academic and professional weight here.
Yeah, that institutional backing is crucial context. What this source material reveals is this fundamental shift in educational philosophy regarding business regulations.
How so?
Well, simply knowing the current rules is insufficient. Because a rule you memorize today...
Might be amended tomorrow.
Exactly. The focus has to be on understanding the underlying currents, like how to navigate the frameworks, rather than just reciting the text of a law.
Which brings us to the actual content of this certificate. And looking at the syllabus, what strikes me isn't how dry it is, but how high stakes it is.
Yeah, it really reads differently than you'd expect.
Yeah, it reads less like a legal textbook and more like a corporate threat assessment briefing.
Oh, for sure.
We are talking about managing regulatory risk, ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance conduct risk, financial crime, and data privacy.
It's a highly aggressive curriculum, and it really reflects the modern reality of business survival. A decade ago, a compliance officer might have focused almost entirely on, financial audits.
Right, just the numbers.
Yeah, but today, they are managing a multi-front war.
I think the best way to frame this is to look at how GRC used to be perceived. Like, it used to be the hall monitor of a company,
The hall monitor? Yeah, I like that.
Someone just roaming the corridors, looking for minor infractions, handing out demerits. But looking at these massive, complex topics in the syllabus, GRC isn't the hall monitor anymore. It's the navigation system.
That's a great analogy.
You're steering a massive corporate ship through a field of moving icebergs.
What's fascinating here is how the course explicitly addresses that dynamic through a concept they call practical GRC.
Practical GRC, okay.
Yeah. The curriculum doesn't just ask, what is the law? It forces the student to ask, what does this actually look like for our business operations on a Tuesday morning?
Right, the day-to-day.
Exactly. A huge portion of this syllabus is dedicated to defining a regulated environment and understanding what regulators actually do.
Wait, let me stop you right there, because my immediate thought is, well, regulators regulate.
Right.
They write the rules and they enforce them. What else is there to understand?
Well, consider the motivation behind the rules. Why does a regulator issue a specific mandate?
Oh, I see.
Are they primarily trying to protect vulnerable retail consumers? Are they trying to ensure broad market stability? Or, are they trying to prevent a systemic collapse of the banking sector?
So it's about the intent.
Exactly. The course teaches that if you can analyze and understand the why behind a regulator's core objectives, you gain the ability to anticipate their next move.
So you aren't just reacting to a new rule after it's published.
Right. You're seeing the iceberg form in the distance and adjusting your company's course early.
That is a massive distinction. You're shifting from a defensive posture to an offensive one.
Just saw.
And just to touch on a couple of those specific icebergs, ESG and data, I want to be really clear for you listening. Regardless of what you might read in the news or any political debate surrounding ESG, from a purely regulatory and corporate standpoint, this is a very real, very complex landscape.
It's unavoidable.
Environmental and social governance rules are becoming hard law in multiple global jurisdictions.
Yeah, it is no longer a public relations exercise. It is a statutory requirement.
Right.
Supply chain audits, carbon reporting, labor practices. I mean, these are heavily scrutinized metrics now.
And data privacy is just as volatile. If data is the new oil, then a data breach is a modern corporate oil spill.
That's entirely accurate.
And the fallout is instantaneous. We've all seen companies become the lead story on the evening news because of a compromised server. You can't just read a manual on how to clean up an oil spill and expect to know what to do when it happens.
No, you really can't. And that leads to another critical component of the syllabus, which is conduct risk.
Okay, conduct risk.
This is often misunderstood as just preventing employee theft, but it's much deeper. Conduct risk is about the culture of the firm.
The culture? Like, how so?
It's examining whether your sales incentives are inadvertently encouraging your staff to missell products to clients. Modern GRC professionals have to manage the human element just as rigorously as the data element.
Oh, wow. So that brings up a really practical problem. You can't learn to navigate those treacherous waters just by reading case studies.
Definitely not.
You have to actually sit in the simulator. Which brings us to how the ICA structures this learning experience.
Right, and the format is quite deliberate. It's engineered specifically for working professionals.
Okay.
It's a part-time 6-month course, and successful completion yields 100 ICA CPD or continuing professional development hours.
Which is a significant addition to any professional portfolio.
Huge addition.
6 months makes total sense for this level of depth. But I have to be honest, here is the part of the source material where I really need to push back. The recommended self-study time is listed as only 2 to 4 hours a week. Now, the syllabus does note that this increases around assessment times, but still, 2 to 4 hours?
It sounds low, I know.
If I am hiring someone to protect my multinational company from a multi-million-dollar regulatory fine, I want to know they trained for more than the length of a long movie each week. How is that possibly enough time to master financial crime?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to look at the pedagogy, the actual science of how adults learn and retain complex information.
Okay, I'm listening.
The course uses a blend of guided online study and live virtual classrooms. But the linchpin of their methodology is something they call immersive scenarios.
Immersive scenarios.
Right. The goal is explicitly not about clocking hours reading textbooks. It is about developing critical thinking and interpersonal behaviors under pressure.
Okay, I hear the term efficiency of learning, but let's make that concrete. The assessment details mention one research-based assignment, which sounds standard, but then there's one timed online scenario-based assessment. Does a timed online test actually prove someone won't freeze in a real-world crisis?
Think about what that timed scenario actually looks like in practice. Instead of asking a student to, say, define a money laundering statute in an essay.
Right, which anyone could just look up.
Exactly. The scenario assessment might drop them into a simulation. It might say, your firm's Asian branch just flagged a series of highly suspicious nested shell company transactions linked to a newly sanctioned entity.
Oh, boy.
The financial press has caught wind of it and is calling your CEO in 20 minutes. Draft your immediate regulatory notification and internal briefing.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it really tests your reflexes and your judgment, not just your memory.
Exactly. Rote memorization doesn't save you in a crisis. The scenario-based assessment forces students out of their academic comfort zones.
Yeah, I can see that.
You are applying the law under severe time constraints to complex, messy, ambiguous situations, which is exactly how regulatory crises unfold in the real world.
And you mentioned it develops interpersonal behaviors. That sounds a bit like corporate jargon. What does that actually mean in the context of compliance?
It means that knowing the law is only half the job. When a hostile regulator walks into your office demanding access to your servers, interpersonal behaviors means knowing how to de-escalate that conversation.
Oh, okay.
It means knowing how to negotiate scope, how to manage your own terrified executive team, and, how to project absolute competence under extreme stress.
That makes a lot more sense. You're training the diplomat as well as the lawyer.
Precisely.
And looking at the faculty for those live virtual classrooms, you aren't just watching pre-recorded lectures from an academic who hasn't been in the field for 20 years.
No, definitely not.
You are in a virtual room with heavy hitters. The materials list expert tutors like Rosalind Dixon Burnett, who is a global lead of GRC, Alan Vincent, an associate course director, and Jonathan Baldler, global lead for postgrad diplomas.
Having practitioners of that caliber leading the live sessions is what brings the theoretical content to life.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Because if a regulation is written in the UK, a tutor with global lead experience can explain exactly how it will cause a knock-on effect in Singapore or the US.
So they connect the dots globally.
They turn static knowledge into dynamic ability. So while the weekly hour count might seem light on paper, the cognitive load during those hours is exceptionally high.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly.
The simulator might only run for a few hours a week, but your heart rate is still going to be pounding. I can respect that approach.
It's really the only way to build the practical confidence required to apply what you've learned when a real, unprecedented regulatory issue lands on your desk.
All right, so mastering these immersive scenarios, sitting in the virtual simulator with global leads, it takes real commitment, both in mental energy and, let's be honest, in money.
Yes, it is an investment.
So what is the tangible return on that investment once those 6 months are up? Let's talk about the price of admission.
Well, the financial commitment is structured across a few tiers, depending on your region. The base course fees are £2,150 British, €2,365, or $2,795 US.
So you're looking at around $2,800 for the tuition.
Yes. But I did notice a really vital detail in the materials. There's a 15% discount automatically applied at checkout for residents of low GDP countries.
That's right.
I think that is a brilliant inclusion to make this level of global standard accessible worldwide.
It is entirely necessary, honestly. Modern supply chains and corporate networks are completely globalized.
Yeah, everything is connected.
Right. So a regulatory breach in an emerging market subsidiary can instantly compromise the parent company in a major financial hub. You need highly trained, critically thinking professionals everywhere, not just in London or New York.
That is very true. But there is another financial component we have to discuss, which is the mandatory ICA membership.
To even register for the course, you have to buy a 12-month ICA membership. That runs an additional £185, €204, or $241, making you an associate member while you study.
Right.
I have to admit, when I first read that, it felt a little bit like a cover charge to get into an exclusive club. Like, oh, you want to take our class? Well, you have to pay to join our club first.
It is a very common initial reaction to view it as just an administrative fee.
Yeah.
But let's examine what that membership actually facilitates.
Okay, let's hear it.
You are, quite literally, joining a club. But it's an international community of over 30,000 active compliance professionals.
30,000 people steering corporate ships through the icebergs.
Exactly. And membership isn't just getting a newsletter once a month. It includes access to the personalized ICA Learning Hub, weekly webinars that dissect the absolute latest industry developments, digital badges to verify your credentials, and, ongoing discounts.
I want to introduce a metaphor here because looking at the testimonials from past students really illuminated this for me. They don't just say the textbook was great. They specifically praise the format because it allows them to connect with peers globally. It almost sounds like a real-time immune system for the corporate world.
An immune system. I like that.
Right. If one company in the network experiences a new regulatory threat or a novel cyber attack, the entire 30,000-member network instantly starts generating antibodies in the form of shared knowledge and webinars.
That is an incredibly accurate way to describe it.
Yeah.
A regulation might be interpreted one way by a European authority,
Sure.
but then applied completely differently by a vendor in South America. Having access to a peer who has already dealt with that discrepancy saves your company time, money, and legal exposure.
There's a specific quote in the materials from a past student, Florencia de Porres, at Vodafone Idea Limited.
Yes, I remember that one.
She explicitly calls the certificate a game changer for her career. She notes that it elevated her expertise and enhanced her professional reputation. But the key part of her review is when she says it expanded her understanding of global regulations, which directly boosted her confidence in navigating complex landscapes.
It's a huge confidence builder.
So my question for you, based on her experience, is this. Is this international community actually the hidden syllabus of the entire course?
This raises an important question about the very nature of professional longevity in the GRC field.
Hmm.
As we establish, the landscape is incredibly volatile.
Right?
A static certificate, like a piece of paper you frame and put on your office wall, is not enough anymore. The moment a textbook is printed, a new regulation has already made a chapter obsolete.
Because the icebergs are always moving.
Precisely. So being plugged into a live network of 30,000 professionals, having access to those weekly webinars, being able to message a peer in another country to ask how their legal team is handling a new AI data privacy law.
Oh, that's huge.
That is what actually keeps your knowledge relevant long after the 6-month course ends. The 6-month course teaches you how to think and how to react under pressure. The community provides you with the real-time data to think about for the rest of your career.
Wow, that reframes the mandatory membership completely for me. It's not a cover charge, it's a radar system maintenance plan.
Exactly.
It keeps your navigation software updated. And for those listening who are realizing this is exactly the upgrade their career needs, the materials note that the ICA offers 4 intakes a year to maintain flexibility for working professionals.
Yes, very flexible.
We're looking at upcoming dates like March 30 and July 6, 2026, alongside January and September options.
It provides a highly structured, rigorous pathway into a demanding but ultimately indispensable profession. It moves the practitioner from being a passive observer of corporate rules to an active, strategic manager of enterprise risk.
So, to bring this all together for you listening, the ICA Advanced Certificate in GRC is essentially a 6-month, scenario-driven shortcut to mastering the complexities of modern business survival.
Perfectly said.
It asks for a highly focused, manageable weekly time commitment, but in return, it throws you into immersive simulators with global experts. And it delivers globally recognized value, not just through a level 4 certificate, but by plugging you into a living, breathing immune system of over 30,000 peers.
It is an investment in professional resilience.
And that is where we want to turn this over to you. Take a hard look at your own industry right now, today.
Where are you vulnerable?
Exactly. Where is your company most vulnerable? Is it the rapidly shifting hard law expectations around environmental and social governance? Is your supply chain exposed? Is there a potential nightmare scenario lurking in how you handle global data privacy?
Those are the big ones.
And more importantly, are you currently equipped with the reflexes and the network to help your firm navigate those treacherous waters? Or are you just hoping the ship doesn't hit anything in the dark?
It requires a brutally honest self-assessment. And it leads to one final thing I would like to leave you to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Lay it on us.
We have spent this time analyzing how compliance has moved from the dusty back office to the absolute front line of corporate strategy.
Right.
If a modern company's competitive advantage, its reputation, and its very survival now rely almost entirely on how well it manages environmental, social, data, and complex regulatory risks.
Yeah.
Could the chief compliance officer eventually become the most logical, highly trained candidate to take over the CEO chair?
Wow. Now that is a massive paradigm shift.
But a logical one.
It makes perfect sense, because if you are the one who knows how to spot the icebergs, survive the storms, and navigate the ship through the most dangerous waters, well, you probably belong at the helm. Something to think about. Until next time.